Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Full House of Games. I am, of course, Caleb House, and today we are covering Modern. Joining me is Bo.
Hello.
And that is me on the right there on screen, playing against Thor. So we're starting off, and I'm running Junk, and Thor is running Storm.
Storm. Now that sounds like a very one-sided matchup in favor of Storm on the first game. It sounds like you have to bring in a lot of stuff to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Serum Visions.
So, like, at this point I know it's Storm, because turn 1 Serum Visions off an island is not something most decks usually do, and I know Thor is playing Storm.
Thor's pretty good at Storm. I've seen him play. I saw him play last year.
Yeah. So I open with the... I've completely forgotten the name of it there. Treetop Village, just because I didn't have a turn 1 play and I needed an untapped land, but I believe I've got a bit of discard here.
Thoughtseize, a Duress, and Inquisition.
Yeah, Inquisition and Thoughtseize, not really running Duress because...
Duress is much more of a sideboard card.
Yeah, and probably sees less play in Legacy than other things. But,
it's quite popular in Vintage.
yeah.
Because they
Fair
value that 2 life a little bit more. And, like, there's
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
creatures to take, there's just...
Yeah, it gets a lot
Monsters.
better when the format's different, but there's Goyf.
I
I'm
like the
very
little
animated about my Goyf just
Yeah,
slamming onto the
2/3
table.
Goyf.
So, it's a bit small, but I've got a Liliana to back this one up, and that effectively... like Liliana into discarding my instant speed spell to ramp that up a bit.
Yeah, it's just a clock and a lot of pressure for him.
Yeah, that's one thing you really need to do with Storm is put them on as quick a clock as possible, because the more time and the more mana you give them... the more time and the more life you give them, the more likely they are to go off with their spells. And also, I mean, it's a 2/3 Goyf, so it will survive a Lightning Bolt, and I believe I did make a joke about it.
And what's he got? He's got a Serum
Offering
Visions and a...
Serum Visions and a Thought Scour off a sleight of hand, which is pretty good.
I think you'll probably take the Serum Visions and just...
I'm
or I might go
actually
the Thought
inclined to take the Thought
Scour
Scour
and just mill the next 2 and get something good.
Yeah, unless he already has a...
No?
Okay, alright, so he's taking the Serum Visions, which is fair enough.
You'd have to think about that.
I'll typically take the Thought Scour if I don't have a Pyromaster's Ascension in hand. If he did have a Pyromaster's Ascension in hand, then I think I just take the Serum Visions and play it next turn so I can get counters on that. I believe that was a Metamorphose, possibly.
Yes, I think it is.
Alright.
He's getting ready.
Yeah, so I gotta swell my guy here. So I got a Putrefy in hand, which is so dead in this matchup. Like, one of the most dead cards.
It hits artifacts and creatures?
Artifacts and creatures.
Yeah,
so
not
there's like 4
enchantments.
cards in his whole deck that I can drop.
Yeah.
I'm just fetching basics at this point, because
You want to make sure
Don't-
he has to storm as much as possible.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And then, like, you don't have... Oh, no.
Oh no,
I guess not.
I'll be greedy then. Sure.
I mean, if you're going to drop the Lily, you may as well, right?
Yeah, it's all about the greed. I think I had something else in my hand which required the green for... Just sometimes an inconvenience when you do actually need to go off like that. But,
You do need it if you're going to animate the Treetop Village on the next turn.
I think that's what I did it for, actually, so I could get in for even more damage.
Yeah, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You would hit him for 6 or 7 on the next turn? Which is
Yeah, I believe.
quite a lot.
So we both dropped instants into our graveyard there.
Is that your Putrefy?
That is my Putrefy.
I like that full art Putrefy.
Yeah, it looks nice, but ultimately a dead card in this matchup.
My favorite version is Cryptic Command because it's got a wall of text and it removes the wall of text.
Cryptic Command is a terrible card to have in full art. Yeah, it does look nice. So again, just, putting the clock on is what it's all about here. And for fetching that green mana, I can, turn that treetop online and go off better.
You're on 14?
Yeah.
Which means he needs Storm 13 to get you. But I think he's... Can he do it? I don't know how good his hand is. It seems alright.
Well, you need a storm count of 13, 14 once you cast the Grape Shot.
What's he doing? Is he just putting down like the worthless cards in his hand?
No, I think that's mana ramp actually.
He's got a Pyretic Ritual. Alright, gonna lead with the Gitaxian Probe. See what you got. Come
Just
at me,
land.
bro.
And actually, I remember doing this, and it was a terrible play. I should have actually fetched that swamp, because I totally forgot that I had a forest in hand and could just animate that treetop village anyway.
Whoops. Oh well. It happens, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna walk away because he's gonna storm off here, right? No. Checking the feed. But it's a bit of a tough spot for Thor if he doesn't have a flashback or if he doesn't have that...
Sticks of Pyromancer's Ascension. We wants to do it next turn, I suppose, but...
And that's kind of why I would have held on to that Serum Visions. Just so you could reuse it.
He looks like he's under a lot of pressure. I'm pretty sure that if he doesn't do anything after this turn, you just kill him. Oh yeah, I see Thoughtseize.
Mm-hmm. Let's take something of relevance here. I think it has to be the Manamorphose, or maybe the Grape Shot. Oh no,
it's the Goblin Electromancer.
Yeah, Electromancer, because...
Otherwise he just kills you, right?
Well, I suppose I could have let him have the Electromancer and maybe taken some of the draw power he has, just because if he didn't play a land, and therefore he could have actually got some more value out of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's why I fetched the green mana, so I could play my Tech Edge instead of the Forest. It's really relevant here. And, it's a 3/4. So, we'll animate and swing for 6. Alright, so this is where Thor's on the smallest amount of clock. Because of that, I forget what the pain land's called for red-blue. But because of that, and because of a Gitaxian Probe, he's not sitting really well, especially if he needs to play a shock land this turn or something similar. But I think he does have one Gitaxian Probe there to start a trigger off for that Pyromancer's Ascension there. So
I think it's called Shivan Reef.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Shivan Reef.
It's standard now. I think that's sweet.
Not really.
One count it?
Yeah. So 3 red mana in pool for Thor here, indicated by that lovely dice. He was clearly prepared to play Storm today. I graciously offered to look after his Storm count for him. And a Gitaxian Probe. If he has nothing else in hand that can actually trigger that, I guess he has that Manamorphose, so that's a bonus for him there.
Mm-hmm.
And he really needs to hit a flashback card to...
I can see the Grape Shot in his hand.
Yeah.
It's Time Spiral 1. I like that one.
Yeah. So he needs one less Storm count just because of that Pyromancer's Ascension, which is something I've forgotten a couple of times, but is of course relevant.
What's he gonna do here?
And I believe I just can't get the Storm.
Storming off.
Pyretic Ritual.
Loads of mana.
Well, basically I'm forcing him to Storm off here, right?
Yeah, because otherwise he dies on the next turn
He dies
anyway.
on the swing back if he doesn't get it off. And Manamorphose. pretty solid card here, actually.
Probably makes blue and a red, or double blue.
Well, you've got to make one first and the next one, so 2 blue and draw, and
Is that a Scalding Tarn?
That is a Scalding Tarn, so unfortunately
Ugh.
he's drawn into land, which is not fantastic for Thor at this point.
But he gets a second trigger.
If you can get a draw off this, then you're fine. And that looks like the second Misty, so unfortunately that's game 1 to myself.
I don't know why I didn't crack the fetch just for that, like, I know it's only like a 1% chance to make it less, but it's still less, especially if you're going to die on the next turn.
Well, considering he hit Misty and Scalding Tarn, it's not something that would have gone away, I guess. But,
You're very excited there on the camera.
oh yeah, I get to play on camera. And I also get to play against Storm, which is one of my favourite decks. I just love playing with myself, you know. That's what Storm's all about.
Yeah, I love... Oh man, did you ever play against Eggs? That is the best deck. Oh my god, I played...
Josh Archer ran Eggs in the modern PTQ for Khans.
Really? That's disgusting.
5-2, I think.
I played Eggs when it
5-3.
was like popular, like when it first
Back
came
when
out.
Second Sunrise was not illegal.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was really, really dirty because like you just, it was good to ban it, especially after the infamous F6. What was his name? Like Nathan something or another, I think. And he played against Kibler, and Kibler put like a note saying F6 while the other guy is comboing off, and he walks away and he just goes and does his other thing, and he comes back like about 15 minutes later and he says, "Have you killed me yet?"
Yeah, basically. That's Eggs. Storm's a little bit quicker than that.
Yeah.
And I think... I'm not a huge fan of Thor's mainboard lightning bolts. I mean, they do have value in that you can lightning bolt.
They
mid.
add, they're 4 damage basically
Yeah.
on a storm count. I think I actually don't mind that because I mean I don't mind. Obviously, it's not very good against you because you're playing Tarmogoyfs, but like against some other decks, I could see it being more useful. But
Yeah, I mean, I have Bobs and Goyfs, but aside from that, it's like Lingering Souls, so...
yeah, it
there's
doesn't do
not
anything
a
against
huge
Lingering
amount
Souls.
of value. And I mean, he's never going to have a creature, so it's never going to hit my Liliana.
I can see it. I can see it going to the dome and just saying, okay, we'll put some extra points there. Maybe he's got like maybe he had just a redundant spot. And he's like, whatever, I'll put a couple of bolts in there, figure it out, see how we go.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And this was actually my first time playing Junk. And I fell into a really bad trap of keeping a 1-land hand when all my spells are 2-drops.
Yeah, I fell into that. I was
is-
playing Legacy and I went up against Isaac Mason and I
Mhm.
kept a 2-lander and got wastelanded. And it's like the same thing.
It's a lot worse in Legacy, but keeping a low amount of land in your hand just because of those wastelands and whatnot. But yeah, almost never keep a 1-land hand unless all your spells are 1-drops. And
Yeah,
you're playing
and you've
burn,
got like
okay.
enough way to dig yourself out. It's got to be a basic. You can't keep a duel.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I mean, in Legacy you can't keep a duel, but in Modern you can.
You can, yeah. But even
So-
still, even that's really risky.
Tough choices here. I took out Guruk, and I took out pretty much all of my kill spells, because they're almost all dead except for Abrupt Decay.
Which Garuk did you have?
The Relentless 4-drop?
Flippy Garuk?
No, 4-drop. That
Wild
untaps and...
Speaker.
Yeah, that untaps and makes a guy. Pretty powerful, but it's just too slow against Storm. I mean, I guess I can discard it to Liliana, but what's the point, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, just taking out all the kill spells. There was 2 Slaughter Packs, the Putrefy, and a Dismember, which are all useless. So I brought in a Batterskull because I want some life gain against him, just to make it harder to storm off, and it's a creature. Brought in some Aven Mind Sensors because
Fetch lands.
if I can snap it off on a fetch land, maybe I can hit it.
I mean, it's going to be better than Garuk any day of the week.
Yeah, low risk, but high risk, but maybe I can get it. And brought in a Spells Guide.
Yeah.
Because I'm not running blue mana, but if he did keep those lightning bolts in, I mean, I can do
Redirect
that.
it.
And it's if it comes down to it, it's better than having a dead kill spell in hand.
Yeah.
Like, I can discard it and get Artifact Creature into my graveyard.
Right away. Artifact's one of
instead
the
of
hardest.
just having an instant. And especially Creature as well when I'm playing against a Storm deck who doesn't really run creatures. I mean, maybe I can Thoughtseize one away, but or Inquisition of Kozilek, but that's an extra +2/+2 for my Goyfs, just for discarding the Spells Guide.
So you said you're playing Garruk in this build. Do you play anything else? Is that out of the ordinary for your deck, or is that sort of the thing that you really wanted to play?
No, actually, this is a list that this is a deck that I'm borrowing off Dougal. I think it's Warby.
Yeah, Dougal
Place
Warby.
Legacy. Yeah. So it's his deck, and Garruk's just in there for some value. It is high costed, and I suppose probably had 2 high cost spells, being a main deck Thrun the Last Troll and a Garruk, which is kind of bad for Bob, but
Yeah.
yeah, you can get
flipping 4 damage does not help you very much against the Storm matchup. Would you keep the Bobs in against this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you just need
you want the card draw,
you want to draw into more discard spells
and
and just
there's
pull apart their hand.
like 15 spots in your sideboard aren't there for just Storm. Like, you've got to
Yeah.
have something, and typically a Bob's not really going to hit you for that much damage. I mean, sometimes it just crushes you, and you flip Liliana after Liliana, and sometimes you flip land after land after land. So it's anywhere between, a lightning bolt and a brimstone volley in this deck occasionally, because I brought in that Batterskull. And Sleight of Hand to start off with is pretty good if you don't have Serum Visions. I think it's probably always better to lead with Serum Visions because you know what's coming up.
Hey, that's
And there's the
Spells
one
Guide.
lander that I kept. Oh god. But yeah, it's just packed with really value 2-drops. Like, there's a Bob, a Goyf, and a Abrupt Decay.
Are you casting a Thoughtseize here?
I think so. So yeah, I really fell into that awful mentality of just like, there's 24 lands in the deck. I've only taken out 2, so I'm down to 22. I'll rip 1.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a good mentality to have when you go into this sort of match, especially because it gives Storm more time to play their stuff. I think I'm going to lead with a Kozilek.
I think that everybody's fallen into that trap sometime. I know I definitely have. It feels good to be greedy. You want to make it happen.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I can just rip this land and it's going to be so sweet. But I probably need to improve my shuffling, actually. Because I noticed that a lot of my cards end up on the bottom.
Oh, what's he got here? He's got 3.
So empty the Warrens, and that led me to bring in something else as well.
Golgari Charm?
Some Golgari Charms, the Ozhov version.
The Pontiff.
Yeah.
The thing they play.
And some Engineered Explosives, but that's for Game 3, where I didn't really have that. And I guess that's Thor sort of responding to, maybe I have a Leyline of Anticipation... Leyline of Sanctity. It's a good way to get around.
What have you got here? You got 2 Abrupt Decays, a Spellskite, a Scavenging Ooze,
yeah,
and that's a Swamp?
No, that's a Bob.
That's a Bob?
It was a one-man hand.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It looks like a Swamp because it looks almost full art.
Yeah. So I figured that the Scavenging Ooze is actually pretty good against Thor here, because I can eat all the cards from his graveyard.
No Pyromancer triggers.
Pyromancer's Ascension's then worse off, and so is the other card. His flashback. Like it makes it harder for him if I can just eat over time. But unfortunately, one-land hands do not lean towards that sort of. Oh, maybe it is a swamp. Okay, Goyf, let's go.
Go on, man. 1v1 me.
Yeah, let's go, bro.
I'll smash you.
So, I think that's actually an Electromancer in his graveyard at this point.
That is.
Plus a Scowling Tarn. So it's like to 3/4 again because there's no instance. And that was something that I found really weird for Thor to do here. Instead of ripping like a
shock.
Yeah, a shock. Just a normal
Vents.
island. Steam Vents, yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Taxing Pro and Electromancer. And I'll draw a card. But I guess he did have that, excuse me, the red card there seemed pretty valuable.
Alright, so Storm count is 4.
Yep.
There it is, Shivan Reef.
No, Storm count's at 0.
Storm count 0?
That's my Goyf count.
Oh, that's your Goyf
Because
count.
instant went into the graveyard. So now we're at 4. 4 for my Goyf.
Storm count is 1.
Oh, yeah, what happened at this game? Yeah.
Did you just die?
No, Storm count's at none. That's a Blood Moon in hand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was a bit of an issue with that in this. I mean, I guess I could have figured that he'd bring one in, but that's unfortunate. And
Yeah.
2 Abrupt Decays in hand and no open mana.
Yep.
Now I remember why he didn't rip a Steam Vents.
Alright.
So there's
Bob's a good start because he can draw you into that.
Yeah.
Like 2
I
basics.
just need to get out of it here.
Blood Moon is a very, very cruel card. I actually quite like it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, especially on the play, that makes it even better.
Yeah. It punishes greedy players. Even not particularly greedy players. Like the mana in Modern is fairly good, but because there's so many options, so they don't play many basics.
Yeah,
So Blood Moon is just excellent.
absolutely. Blood Moon is can be such a powerful card against just fields of disgusting mana. Like I think in Legacy, it almost just crushes Bug.
Yeah, it crushes Bug Delver. It's pretty good against Rug Delver. It makes them only be able to cast their bolts. They can't cast any of their creatures, so you have to rely on hopefully drawing into 4 bolts and killing them.
Yeah, exactly. And turns out I did keep Garruk in my deck here. I think I just sideboarded for the 2 artifacts, the Batterskull and that other one.
See, I think Thor's got... I know he's got 1 lightning bolt. I don't know if he has 2 there, but he's got at least 1. Yeah, there's 1.
Yep.
Pop Bob.
That's unfortunate. So I could have maybe played the Spell Scout here, just to draw stuff away. But you know,
I mean, like you never really know because
playing my mountain.
you think that maybe he's. I guess you got to play on the fact that he probably doesn't have bolts, and in this case, he has a second bolt, so he's probably going to get you anyway.
Yeah. So I might have been better off by just not playing that land and discarding the Spell Scout to grow my Goyf a bit more, just because it's a 0/4 essentially.
Yeah. Well, it helps if you draw
yeah.
like a Liliana, or if you draw a Bob, or if you draw whatever you want.
Yeah. I of course need the second black source
Yep.
to play that, and being in that there's only 3 basics in the deck, 2 black and 1 green. It's not good odds
No.
for me.
No, not at all.
Fortunately, I do have 1 swamp out early.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty much my only saving grace in this matchup, actually.
Gives you a little time because you can thought seize them.
Yeah. Look at that sweet Goyf that I can't play. All the mads.
You still have a clock on him, right? Why didn't you attack with your spell sky?
For anyone that doesn't get that, it's a 0-4 and I didn't have a Batterskull equipped to it.
That'd be pretty sweet. Batterskull on spell sky.
Yeah, it gets you out of a lot of...
That is like the most frustrating card for a judge. Like you have like a judge come over and I was like screaming, Can I redirect this onto my spell sky? Every day of the week. When that card came out, I was like, the judge's most hated card. And the next one was like...
Yeah, it's a pretty...
What was the one that came out in M14? Like Styronic Resonator or something like that?
Styronic Resonator?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't standard playable, so...
Yeah, but like, on draft days and stuff like that, everyone thinks that they're smarter than they actually are. Can I copy this fetch land? Or something like that, and they'd,
Well, yeah, I mean, you could.
They're just being so... judges hated it. Judges hated every minute of it.
Fair enough. Come on, I'm keen for Thor to go off here.
Here we go.
2, Storm County's at 2, with 3 red mana in pool. 4 red mana in pool, Storm County's at 5.
What do you got?
Sorry, Storm Cat's at 3. So, Lightning Bolt here. So, he has 4 red mana in pool and a bunch, like 2 untapped lands, so he's fine.
Like, his bolt here does 2 instead of 3, because you would just redirect it to the spell sky and then doesn't do anything.
Of course I just redirect it to the spell sky. Instead of completely forgetting about its ability.
Oh!
He hasn't cast it yet, but yeah. That was a really bad misplay that I picked up on later. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I figured he was going off, and not with...
You were probably dead anyway.
Yeah. So empty the Warrens, makes him 10 sweet goblins.
Nice.
Not with haste, though.
Yeah. Do you kind of wish that card was double red so it could so the goblins could have haste?
No, not at all. It's
because then you would die.
If it was double red and the goblins had haste, then it would just be a higher casting cost.
Tendrils?
No, because tendrils is the same price. It would just be a higher casting cost grape shot, and
yeah,
you don't run tendrils. I guess because you don't have black. But I swung with Tarmogoyf here, maybe expecting Thor to... Like, I have to do it. Thor has to keep at least a creature back to block my Tarmogoyf every turn, and maybe I can rip something to get me out of this. But it doesn't look good. And I thought maybe Thor would block with 5 of them and take out my Goyf, just to sort of ensure that he has the clock on me.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he... just jump blocks, because he's got plenty of them.
What's he got there? Is it a Get Probe? He's just gonna hardcast Get Probe? Have a squeeze of what you got?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I also think he's on way too low life to not cast Get Probe.
Yeah, just have to see what you got.
Mm.
I mean, like, he's top decking, right? He's not gonna try to storm off, he just needs to see...
Yeah, like, he's got this in the bag.
Yeah.
More than enough goblins for me to deal with, and I don't have any of the hate cards to actually win me the game here, unfortunately. I mean, I guess, having played Storm, I could have thought about it and brought in Engineered Explosives, or any of the negative ones. Engineered, of course, being the best here, because Blood Moon. Treetop Village, I'll play my Mountain Tapped.
Mm-hmm.
Thought for a second I'd be able to play my Goyf because it was green, and then I was like, oh wait.
Some mountain that comes into play tapped.
I'll just not. So yeah, by swinging every turn, it forces Thor to keep 1 or 2 creatures back. But the tide is more than enough. And Blood Moon sucks.
Yeah, Blood Moon sucks. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's what Bear does when he played. He used to play Legacy a lot more, and we put Blood Moon in his sideboard when he was playing goblins. So Blood Moon and
good.
goblins.
Yeah,
That's pretty much what you just
all,
died to.
All you're doing is just playing red creatures. So yeah, I sideboarded in Golgari Charm. Yes, yeah, Golgari Charm, 2 of Penance or whatever it is. 2 of gives my creatures +1/+1 and my opponent's creatures -1/-1. And sideboarding in 2 Engineered Explosives means I've got more of those crappy kill spells to take out. So that keeps me sort of alive for longer if I rip them. But yeah, I mean I have to probably keep better hands. I mean I could have played around Blood Moon by fetching a forest, and that would have given me all the mana that I needed, and I probably would have been able to go off then. Since I did have that swamp in hand, but probably just a little bit greedy and got blown out by it, which happened.
Like the thing about Blood Moon is that I don't know how much play it sees in Modern, like at our meta, but it's such a miser card. It's like just for those greedy players, and like I don't know how greedy it is tonight, but
This is round 1.
Round 1, yeah.
No, it's a really good card, and like him showing it to me on game 2 means that I now play around it on game 3, and he can sideboard it out and watch me, have trouble with my mana base anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a really good card if your opponent is playing 1 or more colors. Well, 2 or more colors.
If he sides us out, would you would you keep an Abrupticase for this? Because
I would keep Abrupticase in anyway.
Just to get the Pyromancers?
Because I honestly can't take out that many cards.
Yeah.
Plus, it's good for Pyromancer's Ascension. It's good for Goblin Electromancer, and if you're playing Storm, you need 1 of those 2 cards.
That's right. Yeah, they actually have permanents sort of now. They didn't used to have Goblin Electromancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like when it came out, it took a little while for that card to go in those Storm decks. Like it was kind of like, oh yeah, I guess it could be alright, and then it took a little dip, and then it came back, and it was really, really, really big. And it did a lot of work for them. I think it's like is it a 4-of? I don't think it is.
Typically it's 4-of in the deck that I run at least, and it's a 4 of Pyromancer's Ascension, but I'll usually sideboard out 1 of each for whatever my sideboard cards are. Like they're the first to go just because you only need 1 of them, and you still typically draw into it with all the sculpting that you've got going on. You can just cast a different blue spell that'll draw you a card every turn, and then draw into 1 of those, and if it's Pyromancer's Ascension, because you've played a blue spell every turn, you'll have plenty of stuff to turn it on. And if you've played a something else every turn, then you'll have other things to abuse, like Manamorphose or any of your red mana increases.
I mean, the deck has 24 draw spells or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it's all about that draw, and you always want to Thought Scour yourself. You always want to do everything possible to do it.
Is Thought Scour a popular choice? I haven't seen it very much.
Thought Scour is pretty much a must-have because it's technically draw 3 cards when you want to flashback. So
yeah. What's the flashback? The flashback with Past in Flames. Yeah. Flashback with flashback.
Yeah, so it itself has flashback, and I mean, you do kind of lose out to Grafdigger's Cage, yeah. But on the turn you're going off, you typically have enough draw power that you'll draw into a Echoing Truth, and you'll just be able to bounce it anyway, or you'll have something to deal with it. I mean, if you're playing against Death and Taxes in Modern, that's a little bit weird, but you might face off against Aether Sworn Cannon Mist, in which case you can just bounce that as well, hopefully as your first spell.
That's one of the things I've noticed is it seems to me that Modern has a lot of decks that would have a lot of trouble with Grafdigger's Cage and Pithing Needle.
Mm.
Like Birthing Pod in particular would have a lot of trouble with a Grafdigger's Cage. They wouldn't be able to pod for anything, and their guys wouldn't be able to come back. I don't see why. If people get scared of pod decks, they should just put more Grafdigger's Cages in the sideboards.
There's plenty of hate cards for almost any idea. And this is the time that I kept a one-land hand.
Hey!
Because everything was 2-drop value. And I couldn't play any of it, and I regret my decisions entirely.
That's alright, we all get greedy sometimes.
But Thor also kept a one-land hand. So that's good news for me, but... So, yeah, it's like Engineered, Abrupt Decay, Golgari Charm, Goyf, Scavenging Ooze, and a Bob, I think it was. I was just like, yeah, I kind of have to keep this and hope I draw into a land. I'll be really greedy. But, I did also want Storm to win, because I really like Storm.
Yeah, Storm's pretty cool deck, and Thor's a pretty cool guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shit. And there it is.
Uh-oh.
That basically spells doom for me here, and he'll, of course, fetch an island, I would assume. Just to make sure that if he does cast Blood Moon at some point in this game, then it's gonna work out for him.
Blood Moon would be so awful for you. Especially in this position.
Yeah, well, I can respond with probably grabbing a green mana just from the Goyce and stuff in my hand and the Scavenging Ooze off that Verdant, and I think that's what I have to do if he does play a Blood Moon. But just pulling out both those Engineered Explosives.
After seeing the Blood Moon last game,
Mm-hmm.
do you not play a Goyf? When you think he's gonna play 3 mana, do you not play the Goyf because you're trying to hold up on Abrupt Decay to get the Blood Moon?
I mean, yes and no. He hasn't done it straight away now, which means he probably doesn't have it. And since that's the case, I would not be. But I'm also on one land and haven't drawn into anything else, so it's not likely to happen. Is the unfortunate eventuality of that. Man, I wish I had those Engineered Explosives on 2 right now.
E is a sweet
Come
card.
on,
E is
rip.
There you go.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so we've got a Terramorphic Expanse. And I think...
Drop a Bob? Bob or a Goyf?
I think I have to drop a Goyf here, I think.
Goyf would be big. Goyf would be at least 3.
And since I'm probably going to get blown out by Blood Moon anyway, I'm just going to fetch a Shockland. That way, if he doesn't do it next turn, he can... if he doesn't do it this turn, I can do stuff next turn anyway, and it's probably... end of story. But Pyromancer's Ascension plus Goyf, plus Electromancer,
that's pretty rough.
Pretty much you win the game as a Storm player. Yeah.
Yeah. Slam it.
Gotta slam it. Slam it.
I really like Engine Explosives. It's one of my favorite cards. I think that it's like a scalpel compared to a bomb, it just slices what you need.
Yeah, exactly. I would definitely compare it to that was the black green one in Legacy. Pernicious Deed.
Pernicious Deed.
Yeah, they're both just such good cards because you can get such value out of them by determining however much mana you want and just blowing people out of the game with it.
Yeah, Deed's really cool. Would Deed be too broken in Modern? Probably.
Maybe, yeah.
I think, it would be, because, the Rock is a fairly popular deck, and, Rock
I smell what the Rock is cooking, and it was not good for me today. But I'm excited to play against Storm. I love Storm as a deck, and I love playing against it. It's great fun. So there's one counter on that Pyromaster Ascension, and Thor has the 2 Pyretic Rituals here, so...
Boom.
That's double the counters, double the fun. And again, I'm going to manage Storm for him, just because I like it so much. So Pyretic Ritual, 5 red mana in pool now. And those 2 counters on Pyromaster's Ascension pretty much spells doom for me here.
When you're counting somebody else's Storm count, it is Magic at its most interactive.
Oh, I love counting Storm. It's the best. I say that with full sincerity because I like Storm so much. So we're at like 3 or 4 Storm count here. 3 it is. And he's going to add a red and a blue, I think. Just because he's got more than enough blue there to pay for all his spells for the rest of the game. And for the sake of our viewers, I do concede because I know that Thor, like being a Storm player myself, I know how much Storm count you need to like win the game and whatnot,
and how likely he is to have everything at this point.
Right, and I've got nothing because I'm tapped out, right? So I believe I counted up his. You might see it in a bit. I'll count his graveyard and factor in Pyromaster's Ascension and factor in essentially how much draw he has.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a value of about 22 or something. So I asked to see Pass in Flames, because if he can show me Pass in Flames, then I know that he can dig through the rest of his deck. And with instant speed spells, you can get even more cards in there for the flashback for Pass in Flames, especially being copied off that Pyromaster's Ascension. Sorry, and I know I'm not in a good place here. It was probably too greedy to keep, but it looks like Thor had a fairly sturdy hand anyway, so I'm not overly worried.
Well, he kept a 1-lander and he ripped the land and you didn't. It's Magic, it happens. You know?
Oh, absolutely. That's what variance is all about. And yeah, this is where I start counting it up. So it's like 1, 2, 3. Each of those Serum Visions is 6 because they're copied and you get to scry too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just told him to show me the Passing Flames. Like, yeah, this is me asking for the Passing Flames, and then asking for a Grape Shot as well. Like, if you can show me Passing Flames, and then 2 to your deck for a Grape Shot, you win the game.
Mm.
Like, if I'm like, do you know if you have a Grape Shot in your deck or not? Like, if you don't, then I'll make you play this out, because I've got 2 Engineered Explosives, and I can just destroy all your tokens. But if you do, then just find me a Grape Shot, and I'll give you this game.
Yeah, Empty the Warren doesn't do anything. He has to have a Grape Shot.
Exactly.
And like, if he doesn't, then he's like, he could probably still Storm off the next turn, but.
And there it is, like the next card. So congratulations to Thor, and please stay tuned for round 2, 3, and 4 of the Modern on Wednesday at Good Games. That was Full House Games for Magic and more.